Hey everybody, November 2025 promises to be a fascinating month as we're going to have Mars, Mercury, and the Sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is going to go retrograde and Jupiter is going to go retrograde, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we're having some sort of major redirect, returnaround, redo, reevaluation and and making sure that we're in alignment because Saturn is also in retrograde and Saturn's going to go direct at the end of the month. So Saturn and Jupiter are making this beautiful trine, Mercury in retrograde. Now, all three of these planets are going to be in retrograde, making sure that we reevaluate, we go back and we redo something from the past that we've left behind, need to redo, need to learn better, or need to integrate more in our psyche before we can go forward when Saturn stations direct at the end of the month. All right, here we are at the beginning of November with Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. Mars is going to oppose Uranus before it moves into Sagittarius here in a day or two, which will cause some sort of upset, possibly it can be a volatile, sudden violence, sudden upheavals, and it can be a shock and awe energy, crisis energy, and degree point of Scorpio. But other than that, the month looks beautiful after we get over that hump. But Mercury is going to start going retrograde here on the 9th, and then Jupiter follows in retrograde. And Jupiter is making this beautiful trine to Saturn, and the Sun will join that trine. Venus will join that trine in the month of November, which is a beautiful backdrop of harmony, calm, peace, blessings, intuitive intelligence, connecting, reflecting these energies because we've got all this retrogradation with Jupiter in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde. And then with that Mercury in retrograde, we're going back, we're reconnecting with people that we need to reconnect with, that are really a part of our future, that are a part of our Dharma. Sagittarius is all about our Dharma, being on our calling, being on our purpose, following a destiny, following a destined path. And then Jupiter is blessing that with long-term opportunities and abundance and expansion. But when it's in retrograde, we're really reevaluating and we're integrating what we have learned so far and really leaning on what we've learned and really seeing if we've learned it on a psyche level, that it's integrated as a part of who we are now. Planets go direct, we learn a lot. Jupiter direct, Jupiter retrograde, we go back and we discover what we have learned, what is real, what is solid in what we have learned that we can really lean on and use for our own personal expansion. So, Jupiter retrograde, ruling all these planets in Sagittarius. The Sun's going to go into Sagittarius in the 21st of November. And Mercury will be retrograde back into Scorpio, forming another opposition to Uranus, which could bring another deep secrets, revelations, people from the past coming in. Mercury retrograde, we're reevaluating people from our past, choices we made in the past that were not necessarily put us in the right direction. People we left behind that are part of that are really supportive of our true dharmic path that we need to go back and reconnect with. Ideas, projects that we may have not felt strong enough to do or courageous enough to do. Because remember, we have a Jupiter who is ruling all of these planets in Sagittarius, squaring Chiron, giving us the courage and healing us to be initiators and to start these dharmic callings and missions, or shall we say purposes, or what we're here to do, which is going to bring the world into a better place. When we follow our dharmic path collectively, we make heaven on earth, basically. So Jupiter and Saturn is making this beautiful trine, blessing us with opportunities and rewards, you could say, from the squares that happened before with Jupiter Saturn square, where we're now starting to see opportunities in the results of our efforts that will solidify and stabilize an abundant future for us, right? But with this retrogradation, we have to go back and fix something or reconnect with someone or redo a project or come back and reevaluate something we believe. Maybe we have a new belief system. Maybe we can do something now with our new belief, with that Jupiter squaring Chiron. We have the faith in it. Now we can go back and take on a project or take on a relationship or an idea. Go back, retrieve this this good thing that is going to improve our lives and expand our lives. And now we're going to bring it back into our journey, our forward destiny. And then when Saturn goes direct here at the end of the month, it really takes us forward on that, with that new aligned, shall we say, things that we retrieved from the past, people, ideas, projects. And then we're bringing them with us forward. Now, Jupiter's going to stay in retrograde. Mercury's going to go out of retrograde in December. Saturn's going to be out of retrograde in December, but Jupiter's going to continue its retrogradation, which means we're continuing to draw on what we have internally learned, and we're continuing to integrate wisdom, knowledge, experience. And it's a long retrogradation, but it is in its abundant sign of Cancer, so it shouldn't block abundance. It should continue to feed us abundance. Only we're really leaning on what an internal wisdom that we have developed in the last. Well, all of this journey began in December 21, 2020. So we've learned a lot. We've gained a lot of wisdom in our experience and in our learning. Jupiter is about learning and growing consciousness and awareness. So we've made a lot of new awareness, new knowledge. So now when Jupiter goes into retrograde, we then apply it. We then see, did we really learn something, or was it only head deep, or did it change who we were? Now at Jupiter retrograde, we see that it has changed who we are, and we now act from that internal place of knowing rather than external. So we have two lunations, as always, every month. We're going to have a full moon in Taurus on the 5th of November. And that is going to be a super abundant full moon, 13 degrees of Taurus. Super abundant full moon. Anytime you're going to get the moon in Taurus, we're really going to get some nice harvest, especially a full moon. We're harvesting. We're reaping the rewards on a full moon. We're seeing the results of some sort of a nice, abundant, strong, stable, long-term results from some sort of effort that we may have seeded in the new moon in May. So we're seeing sort of the harvest of that, and it looks very abundant and sort of we could say it's a very rich produce with a lot of nutrients, nurturing us to continue on this highly supported path that we're on by the universe, feeding us lots of richness. And then we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 20th. And the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th is pretty intense because it's at the end degree point of Scorpio. So it's like kind of a crisis degree. So for some people, this could be a situation of sort of intensity, upset. But there's a crisis often at the end degree point. But again, it depends on your own personal chart, if it's giving you a harsh angle, but if not, it's a really beautiful new moon where we really clear old fears. With this Saturn, Jupiter trine, it's really supporting our forward momentum. By this point, Saturn is still in retrograde, but we're really finding some deep clearing, some purging of transformative of the fears, some deep fears that have been holding us back from taking our nice path, because it really does. This new moon is a part of that water trine, which brings us into a harmonic flow towards our destiny, a stable new future. So we're really breaking through some sort of deep fear, inner fear that's blocking our destiny with that new moon. And so this is a new moon, a new beginning from a newly healed, or shall we say, purged, brave, the end of that, because whenever you get to the end degree point, Neptune is making a trine to Neptune. So it's sort of some sort of a blessing as a result of having done some internal transformative work. We now have a new seed, a new beginning from sort of fresh soil. So very fertile new moon. And so that takes us pretty much to the end of the month there. Saturn stationing direct, I'm going to go into all the 12 signs now. Saturn stationing direct is going to bring a lot of forward momentum on top of the retrograde energy. So we get a nice, Saturn's been in retrograde, so things have felt possibly pretty blocked and slow and heavy. So then when Saturn starts moving direct, we start to feel it's a slow build momentum, which is really going to take strong traction in February when it goes into Aries. So we're realigning in these energies, getting back, making sure we're in the right path, in the right Dharmic destiny, with the right people, the right projects, the right ideas, so that when Saturn goes direct, we're in alignment, going forward with those things. And again, this is all with a reflective, with the month beginning with this retrogradation. We're really connecting with our higher selves, our souls, and really connecting with what our soul is here to do. And we're just finding the path forward, clarifying that path forward this month. And it will go very strongly forward by the we'll start to really feel a momentum start to build by the end of the month. All right, have a wonderful month. Namaste. All right, Sagittarius, this is where things start to heat up for you as the sun this month moves into your sign, and we're going to have Mercury and Mars in your sign. Plus, Jupiter rules your sign and it's going to go into retrograde, and it's making a trine to Saturn. So your life is definitely restructuring and stabilizing for the long term. Now, Mercury is going to go in retrograde in your first house, which is going to bring people and connections from the past, or projects from the past, or ideas from the past, or supportive opportunities that were once in the past that you did not, shall we say, take advantage of. They return because they are really a part of your destiny. So you're seeing some sort of big theme of something, things from the past coming back to you, because Jupiter, your ruling planet, goes retrograde the day after that in your eighth house. So this is going to be an interesting reading. And we are going to go ahead now and look at the very beginning of the month, where Mars in your 12th house is opposing Uranus, where you could have some sort of, this could be a loss of some sort, or some sort of crisis, emotional reveal that brings an upset in your connection that could potentially end a connection. But if you're in the right long-term connection, it will just bring a surprising adjustment or an adaptation. Could be around finances, to adapt to a situation, a truth that is revealed. But it could end your connection. Now, with Mercury going retrograde during this week, because this transit's going to happen all week while Mars moves into your first house, which is going to really inspire you to take bold, new, in faith actions. You'll feel very ready to initiate and instigate perhaps new relationships, new partnership agreements, or just new projects. Or in general, you're just going to be feeling pretty confident and bold about who you are. And this is your month anyway, because you're coming into Sagittarius. The sun is going to move into your first house, where again, you're going to feel very revitalized and re-energized. So this is kind of a big month for you, Sagittarius. So yeah, there could be some kind of a shift, an upset in your relationships. Whatever happens now, though, during this transit is for your highest good, because this is going to be when Mars is in Uranus, it is connecting to the big water trine. So whatever shows up here is very much a part of to solidify your new Dharmic destiny. This is going to liberate you, because these are liberating houses, so that you sort of are free. So if you do end a connection, it is liberating you to set free onto your true Dharmic path and enable you to create, to get on, to move forward with your destiny and towards the right relationship. Now, let's go to the full moon in Taurus, which is in your sixth house, which will be very abundant. A full moon in the sixth house will bring you the results. Now, again, this is a work house, a house of service, where you are of service through your work. So there could be some sort of results, some hard work that you have put in the last, diligent hard work that you have put in the last 2 years, perhaps when the new moon in May in Taurus happened 2 years ago, or the new moon in May happened last year. Some sort of reward is coming to you. This is a very abundant full moon that brings you the fruits of your labor in some area here in your sixth house, where you have been very diligent. So that is great. It is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in your 11th house. So it most likely comes through social media efforts and work and people that you have met through, let's just put it this way, hard work you have done to promote yourself, perhaps, now brings you abundant results, or connections, or clients, or recognition, or you are seen here in some way more. All right, so now we're going to go to that Mercury going retrograde here in your first house on the 9th, and then your ruling planet goes retrograde the next day in the eighth house. So this is the relationships, money, joint resources. So some sort of project or perhaps some sort of resources come in from the past to support your dharmic path, or a relationship from the past comes in if you're single, and this is part of your true connection. This is a past life connection. You've learned a lot about being in relationships with Jupiter being direct, ruling you, ruling your first house. You're more in your believing in yourself. So perhaps now you're ready to go back to a relationship from the past that is your true relationship that you just didn't believe in yourself enough for. Now comes in. You've Jupiter retrograde brings us a lot of learned lessons around money and joint resources and debt and taxes. So now we're really integrating that we've learned. It's going to really help us here for this trine to Saturn. It's going to help stabilize our finances for the long term. Jupiter is retrograde all the way until March, so you're really creating a new foundation of new financial foundation in your life that also blesses your home and family and perhaps enables you to upgrade your living situation and move. So that is the retrograde of Jupiter. And then we're going to look at the grand water trine for you is hitting in your moksha houses, which is spiritual liberation. So you're really having some sort of big breakthrough in fears around being financially stable. And now you're starting to feel that that fear is no longer dominating your experience in life, and you're starting to flow with an abundant, you have faith in an abundant future because your ruling planet is trining Saturn. So you start to see a stable future for yourself, and that frees you, that makes you feel liberated and free and ready to charge forward in your life with your dharma. And you're all Sagittarians, they really like to be on their true path, their true soul calling. Beautiful water trine for you guys. So then that moves us to the new moon in Scorpio. That will be in your 12th house. So that is perhaps does bring financial loss or some sort of crisis. It's opposite Uranus in your sixth house. This could be also a health crisis shows up, or an addiction is that you bottom out on an addiction if you have one. Or there is a crisis in out of the blue, anything when you're looking at the sixth and the 12th house, really pretty much. So whatever does happen, again, it's part of this beautiful grand trine. So it does align you into your true destiny, which is waiting for you when the sun moves into this first house where you start to really feel momentum going. And then Saturn's going to station direct here on the 28th. So your destiny really starts to feel forward motion, and this blocking of Saturn is starting to lift, being in retrograde. And so now we're going to start feeling momentum forward, inspired. You're very inspired. Now, again, these planets are continuing to oppose Uranus. So perhaps shocking, surprising relationships from the past are showing up here that are your true partnerships. Or like if you're a musician, a lot of Sagittarians are musicians, you find your true bandmates and they're people you fell out with in the past, but they are part of your true creative destiny, and you have a reconciliation and you heal. Venus being there, you heal the conflicts that may have occurred between you all in the past. You've all matured. Everyone's matured. Jupiter making a square to Chiron. We're overcoming our insecurities that are stopping us from taking our dharmic path, stepping forward into our bold new lives that really want to live. That's what Sagittarians are about. So yeah, so that new moon in Scorpio so did we get to the new moon in Scorpio? I think we did, yes. So great. So that's a wonderful month for you, Sagittarius. A lot of reinvigoration and redoing and feeling reignited and inspired about projects and people and ideas from the past that are coming back, that are part of your destiny, that are really going to take you into a very solid, long-term, stable financial future. All right, have a wonderful month. Namaste.